Hi, I'm Darren Whitley. I'm a professional photographer and a video production specialist. Today, what I'd like to share with you is how to take a picture of a spirit poster like you might find in your high school. It's been created possibly by your student government or your leadership team, and turn that into something you can use in a broadcast. We use these posters a lot of times as backgrounds in our studio, but what I want to show you is how to take a picture, or potentially take a picture that you've taken of the poster, and utilize the painted poster in a digital form. So with that said, we're going to move over to Photoshop, where I can show you what I've got. Okay, so the poster, here's the original poster. I've saved these after court warming, and what I've done is taped that up on my garage door yesterday and took a photo of it with my digital camera. And we're going to transform this poster into something that looks like this, that fits 16 by 9 for broadcast. So we're going to work through how you do that. So this is where I ended up, and I'm just going to keep this in the background. This was a middle state, and we're going to go ahead and close that out. So the first thing we need to do is excuse me. We're going to look at our channels here in Photoshop. So we go over here, and right now you're looking at the composite. Here is the red channel, and here is the green channel, and lastly we have the blue channel. And having done this already, I can tell you that the green channel turned out to be the best for me. So we're going to take this and we're going to select all, and we're going to copy this to a new layer. So first thing we want to do is we're basically trying to create, we're going to be editing this to create a mask. So I'm going to use the lasso tool here to make a selection, and we're going to basically erase the garage door from the edges. I'm using the Option key with this so that I can draw these straight lines. Okay, then we're going to inverse the selection. We're going to make sure that we have our default colors by pressing the D key, and then we want to hit Command Delete, and so that'll erase everything that was in the background. Now we're going to do a levels adjustment, which is Command L. We bring the adjustment palette over here. We want to bring this white point up. We hold down the Option key, we can see it starts to bleach out. And we want to bring our black point up a little bit, but not too far. Like I said, right now our goal is to create a mask, so that we can put this into, create some new solid color layers, and then use this black and white image as the mask for those colors. So you notice the light at the top of the excuse me, sorry about that. So you'll notice the light at the top of the scene is let's see here, we got our fill turned up to 100. There we go. So it's a little darker at the top and a little lighter at the bottom. So what we're going to do is I'm going to try to even out some of that lighting with some masking so that I can kind of control the exposure so that the values at the top and the bottom are a little more even. So what we're going to do is jump a copy of this image, and then we're going to lighten the top. So we're going to change the blending mode to screen, I think is what we'll do. Kind of figuring this, having done this once, but now I'm doing it again. I'm like not quite sure I did it the first time, but here we go. And then we've got a mask over here on the right, and we're going to do a gradient mask. So the bottom and the top are looking a little more even. There's before and there's after. If you want to just see, this is kind of fading the lightness. Here, let's just drag this one more time. I think I can do it a little better. Okay, so we'll merge those together, and let's do another levels adjustment. Again, we'll pop that black point, can come back in a little bit. I think we've kind of bleached out the paper now. I want to change the midtones a little bit because I'm trying to retain some of the detail in the brush strokes from the paint. Okay, so that should work. That's workable. So I think this would be a good place to let's just save this. Sorry, all my dialog boxes are off screen. Let's just see that. It doesn't need to be compressed here. Okay. All right. So if you know anything about masks, you know that black conceals and white reveals. So what we're going to do is we're going to invert this. Hang on. Oh, I got more dialog boxes off screen. That's what's going on. Okay, invert. Okay. Okay. So now let's make a new document. And once again, we got to bring that over. And this is going to be for broadcast, so we're going to make this in 1080p. So you just go to Film and Video and make a new document. The thing I like about this is it's got your action safe zones that you can see if you bring your guides in. So let's bring this green channel over and drop that there. And we're going to close that out because we don't need that anymore. Okay, so you can see it's too large. But part of what the appeal is to have these artistic, hand-drawn work in a broadcast, as opposed, it kind of just makes it more personal. So that's what my goal here is, to just show you how to do something that's a little more personal to your broadcast and to your school. So we're going to put the transform, we're going to transform this down so that this fits, or at least a good part of it fits on screen. One of my goals here is to make this, in the end, have a composition that fits horizontally and has some nice diagonal movement. So I'm not too worried about the bottom corner has white showing at the moment, because we're just going to go ahead and draw a box, and I'm going to fill that with black, so we kind of fix that. Okay, so in fact, let's bring this down a little bit. Okay, I think this is pretty good. This, for the right hand side of this composition, will be good. For the here, hang on. Apparently my camera froze. Okay, we'll just go full screen. All right, for the right-hand side of the composition, I think this will work. So we're going to do Control A. My bad. Let's get back to Photoshop. Control A, and we're going to copy, and then I'm going to make a new solid layer that's for and then this has a mask on it, so we need to option click into the mask someday. Oh, I see what's going on. Again, dialog boxes keep going off screen because I don't usually run two screens. Okay. Option click. We're in the mask, you can't tell it, but I'll paste. And then the next thing we need to do is we're going to clean this up a little bit so that the go in the top left is deleted from this. So we'll just need to make a marquee tool, can select a bunch of this. We have black in the background, so we're going to do Command Delete. And let me switch over to the brush tool real quick. Switch colors with the letter X and paint that out. Okay, I'm going to paint that out a little bit there. I'm going to clean that up just this corner because I got to make room for the other go. Okay. If we come back here, let me invert this color. And right now that's how it looks. Let's up the white point just a little bit in that mask. So Command L. Let's brighten it up here just a little bit. Okay. All right, so now we need to work on the top left corner. So we're going to bring this original image down. And I'm going to force these letter forms over here. And then we're going to do all copy, and I'm going to close that off. And then I'm just going to jump a copy of this white layer for the moment and jump it up. We're going to option click in here, and we're going to paste this new image, and now we're going to clean out everything else. So it's easier to select the smaller part of the picture. So what we want to do here is select just the top left corner, and then we'll invert the selection so we can delete the rest of that mask. So Command Shift I, and then put X, puts black in the background, and I do Command Delete. And then we're deselecting. And now if we come back over here, we've got it close. Let's see. Let's move the go out. I think this, so we've got a couple things that need to be transformed a little bit. So let's back out just a hair and let's transform. So This has got to go to the bottom right a little bit. I want to make sure that if you check up here, these need to stay. I don't want to stretch it. That's good. Click over here, Command T. Hold down the Option key. Enter. Let's move that up. Go back to this one. Oh, you know what? We did a levels adjustment on that mask here, so let's go up here and do the same thing. So if you do Command Option L, it should bring in the previous adjustment, and that'll bring the white point up on that. I think we want to squeeze this a little bit back to the left. Okay. All right, so my next goal will be to, I'm going to separate the word J's from the bottom right corner. So what we're going to do is let's jump a copy of this, and then I'm going to go into this mask layer, and we're going to clean up. I want to separate. I want to make the emphasis on the word J's dominate the scene, the composition. So I don't want the words go to be in white. So my intention here is to mask off we've got to do, there's two steps to this because I'm going to separate the J's out, and I've got to go back in. It's got to be deleted from one, and it's got to be preserved from the other layer. So we're kind of basically doing a manual separations layers. If you're familiar with CMYK press printing, you'll know that they work with layers of black and white layers to make a printed image on a press. So here, first thing we're going to do is let's go ahead and delete it from this one. We're going to use that same selection but on the other layer below, and then we're going to invert the selection and we're going to delete all the stuff around it. So now I have the words J's separated. You can see that how those are different. Okay, so now I've just got some final cleanup here. What I'm going to do with my brush, I've got a Wacom tablet that I like to use when I'm doing the brush tool. So we're just going to get in here, making my brush slightly smaller, and we're going to use Paint with Black to clean up some of these paint splotches. I'm using the space bar to briefly switch over to the hand tool so I can move the image around to spot it. Okay, let's go to the top, and I don't want that paint. Made a mistake there. I want to take that dab right off this side. Okay. Back out. Should be pretty clean. There's a little bit right here. Move in on the zoom tool if it'll let me. I have to be patient. See if I can get my history palette. Okay. Zoom in on the bottom of the A. I was thinking I wanted to clean this up a little bit. Okay, right there. Okay, let's go back. Okay, so just I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of that layer. So the next things I want to do is I want to create kind of a paper background or a background with a little bit of a shape and a vignette to it. And I want to get into using the school colors. So let me go up here and open an image. I'm just gonna cheat a little bit. And let's go ahead and get the yellow color I wanted. So I've got those two loaded into here. So what I'm gonna do is the J's will stay white, but this will become yellow. So let's fill that with yellow. And let's fill this with yellow. And then the background's supposed to be blue, so let's fill that with blue. Now, to get a little bit of texture into this, we need to run a couple filters. So what we're going to do is this one is going to be a lens correction. For the vignette, this is how I do it, and we'll bring that over and go over here to custom, and we're going to change that all the way up and hit OK. And now we switch it over to multiply mode, and that didn't show anything yet because I haven't completely finished this. And then another thing I want to do is I want to run difference clouds, or clouds. Let's try clouds. Let's try difference clouds. I don't know what difference it's going to make to me. All right, and then this, I just want to use it in overlay mode, and then I'm going to turn it way down so there's a little bit, and then I want to put, instead of any potential sharpness, we're going to run a little blur on it. Gaussian blur. And I've got that set to 16. And then we'll turn our vignette on so you can see that. Let's turn our guides off. Oh, and then there's a little splotch right here that's a little stronger than I like. So what I like to do is let's spot that. So I believe it's in this mask, and let's just do it as a selection, and black is going to go with the background. So what else do we have left? Let's see our finished. What does a finished one look like? Let's turn that off. So I think we're pretty close. Oh, So one of the last things I wanted to do is potentially add a little more paint spatter on the left side of this. When I was photographing posters yesterday, the thing I did was I did take some extra pictures of let's see, of some of the other posters, and just to get the paint spatter. So let me bring this over. Let's see here, court warming posters. Maybe. Oh, let's use this one. Or let's see what else we have. Let's try that one. I make no promises. Okay, so we want to look at channels again. So we're going to go, again, the green channel seems to be really strong for separation. So let's copy this layer, and I'm just going to let that close that, and we'll paste it in here. Let's bring it to the top. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so I really like this spatter right here in this corner. That's kind of unique. So I'm going to grab this out of this image, and I'm going to put it on a new layer to work on that. So let's jump it. It's Command J. We can close this, and let's work on the levels. So we're going to bump the white up. Let's bump the black up just a little bit. Let's hold down the Option key just to see it. Okay. Let's invert it. Okay, so this is going to end up becoming yellow when we're done. And we can go ahead and kind of scale it into place. If you want to see what it's going to look like, we can put it in a screen mode so you could kind of see what it would be. Another thing about this that's kind of cool is if you want to create additional colors. Here, let me get this. I know it doesn't matter, it's not typography, but I'm not trying to stretch it. But you know, it could be a third color if you wanted. And I think it could be rotated. I just like it because it's a little bit wild. Okay, all right, now to make a quick selection, fill the rest with black. We're going to do Command and click on that layer. We're going to do Command Shift I, and then I exchange the colors, and now we'll do Command Delete. There is going to be a little bit of a problem though. So if you put this back to normal mode, there should be a little fine hairline there that did not get filled correctly. Typically I find, yep, there it is. So you can just start to see that. I really don't need to see the pixels. Let's turn off the pixel grid. So see this here, we need to just clean that up real quick. So let me go back a step or two. So we have our selection. I'm going to invert it one more time. And then I'm going to modify the selection by contracting it. Dialog box is on the other screen. We'll bring it over. Let's go in about 2 pixels. and then again Command Shift I, delete, and that should fix that. So let's zoom in real quick, kill the selection off, go back to normal mode. Yeah, there's nothing there now. Okay, all right, so this is ready to be a mask of its own. All copy, and then we're going to do it in a yellow layer, so we'll jump that, come over here and then option click and then paste, and now this is what we've got. So I like how it's a little bit wild in the left corner. Now I just want to put something in the top right corner that's just a little bit wild and random too, to kind of make it more celebratory and a little bit more exciting, I think. So let's go back to this layer and see if there are any other elements we could just pluck out of this. Here, I have an idea. Let's make that a smart object so I can look at the whole composition. Okay, that's better. Okay, this bottom part right here in the middle, I don't know if you're able to see my mouse. Yeah, right there. That would work. Between the Y and the L isn't so bad. I think this part underneath the JAY would work as well. Okay, so let's do that. Let's do a selection of this area right here. I'm going to subtract some of this. I'll add that back. Okay, copy that. That's in the clipboard. I'm going to close this, and then I can turn that off. Now paste. Let's do a layer levels adjustment. Should be about the same. I'm not going to just auto load that, and then let's invert. Now let's do a selection, and then let's do the modification of the selection again. So we're going to contract it 2 pixels. Command Shift I. I'm doing all this now. I don't know. Guess I could do it later. And then let's put it in screen mode just to dummy it in. Oh, let's transform it just like we did the other layer. So that's already loaded into the cache. Now let's rotate. And you know what? I think I want to leave it white because I like how that contrasts, that little wild detail contrasts from the bottom left where it's still in yellow. So that's why I want to just leave it the way it is. This version of Photoshop is so new to me that there are things I don't know how to do yet. Because I'd like to make that right there the point I rotate on. And I just don't know how to do it in this version. Okay, that's good. And then actually I want to put that below some of the, I'm not even going to bother to make that a real mask since I can use the screen mode. I'm going to put that below some of the yellow paint so that it's not over the top of the yellow paint. Okay. I think that does it pretty well. Let me see here if I can get my camera running again. So it looks like I'm not going to get this camera running again, but I wanted to. This is the final composition, the final design. This would potentially be used as a green screen background for a broadcast, where you might use this in a TriCaster or a vMix, or even Adobe Premiere if you're doing it in post. So the point of this whole exercise is that you use something that has been hand drawn as a design element in your broadcast. The reasons that I had initially thought to even do this project is that the posters were actually on white paper, and white is not really something that's ideal for a broadcast, because it challenges the gamut of video. And so that's part of the reason that I decided to recolor this. Many of the posters also didn't fit the 16:9 size of a broadcast, so that's why photographing them, bringing them into Photoshop, and manipulating them further allows you to make it fit your broadcast environment. Some of these elements could also be used to embellish like a lower third. So instead of using the paint spatter for a full screen graphic like this, you could use it on top of a lower third design, and then that lower third could then tie into your graphical backgrounds. So that's one of the things that you could investigate. The whole idea of this is to create a identity for your broadcast and give it some sense of design that is unique. Many of these things that we can make in a computer are so perfect, and they're just not very as personal, and don't evoke the same emotion. And so that's why you should investigate using things that are hand drawn, hand created in your broadcast. So with that said, I hope this tutorial helped you learn a little bit about Adobe Photoshop and how you can use channel masking to make graphics for your broadcast classes. If you like this video, please feel free to make a comment below and send me a message about other potential videos that you'd like me to make. Thanks.